Good afternoon, Steel City. Welcome to the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Today's show, Pittsburgh Pirates Spring Training Report. The 2024 Pirates get ready for the upcoming season. The Pittsburgh Penguins take 5 out of 6 points on this recent home ice heavy schedule. The GM says wait and see as far as trades, and then makes one. The Pitt Panthers, NCAA men's basketball team, are clawing to a bubble spot of an NCAA tourney bid after a rousing blackout home win. I will explain. And your Pittsburgh Steelers released a starter on offense and signed a reserve linebacker on defense, but still have only one quarterback on its roster. Please come join me, Ralph Calise, on the Yinzer Report next on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go! Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. My name is Ralph Calise. I will be the host. This is my 9th show of the Yinzer Report, coming close to show number 10. It's been a great ride. Love it. Glad all that have joined. You can see early in the chat, we have Terran, Larry B. Welcome, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show. Just want to follow up. Terran, great show. That is some job you do out there on volleyball. Unbelievable. Way to go, guy. So, of course, sports radio, IE Sports Radio for the last 9 years. IE Sports Radio has brought you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports, cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports and with our shows. Also, check out our daily updated website, iesportsradio.com, for sports news, the IE Sports Radio blog, our Hall of Fame. Yours truly is the 24th member of the IE Sports Radio Hall of Fame. Fans of the Month. Pages dedicated to each podcast, our IE Sports Radio community forum, and stop by the shop to check out the merch. Thank you for making for IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. And as always, thank you for listening. Okay, so today we're going to get right into some spring training baseball with the Pittsburgh Pirates. A little different way of starting my show. But being that Pirates came into spring training this past weekend, I figured I'd do some baseball with them because the season is upcoming fast. Believe it or not, they already played 4 spring training games. And I'll go over some things that happened the past couple of days with them. As you know, baseball season is right around the corner. You have the cracks of the bats, the poppings of the glove. Just a very exciting time of the season, at the beginning of the season. Every team is in it. Every team is in first place. And every team has a chance. So we'll take that mantra with the Pittsburgh Pirates, see how it goes this year. So it started out last week before their first game on February 24th that they signed Mitch Keller. That's going to be their opening day pitcher to a 5-year, $77 million extension. The Pirates lock up the young core player as the Pirate team continues to try to return to the postseason for the first time in nearly a decade. It was announced after a visit to the coach's office where manager Derek Shelton handed Keller a bottle of champagne, naming him the opening day pitcher for the Pirates in the 2024 season. A great accomplishment for Mitch Keller. He won his arbitration case, as you remember, in the offseason, and he just got paid. So then came Saturday. They had their first spring training game. It was against the Twins. It was at the Twins Stadium, and they had a pitcher named Bailey Falter who was trying for a spot in the starting rotation. He allowed 2 runs in 2 innings. Not bad. Henry Davis was the catcher, probably the opening day catcher, went 2 for 3, and Edward Olivares had a 2-run RBI, a triple. But the stats in this game was the Pirate pitching. They have a bullpen and young starting pitchers coming up that are supposed to be really good. And in this game, there was 5 of the 7 pitchers that posted a scoreless inning. Now, mind you, this is spring training, so all these guys are getting a look. They're new players. Not many of them are heard of. And the guys that pitched the scoreless innings were Jared Jones, Josh Fleming, Jose Hernandez, who had 3 strikeouts in his 1 inning, Michael Plasmeyer, and Hunter Stratton. Hunter Stratton might make the bullpen this year. The Jared Jones is the Pirates' number 3 prospect. He's 62nd overall. He was hitting at 98 miles per hour and a curveball with a 58-inch vertical break. He looked in mid-season form, and he pitched a scoreless inning in his first spring training action. Now, I don't know, they have all these metrics now in baseball where you could go to like a StatCast. Yeah, if you get a chance, try to look up what a 58-inch vertical break of a curveball looks like. You'll be amazed. Their next game was February 25th. It was against the Baltimore Orioles. It was their home opener at their spring training park. That's Lecom Park. And the Orioles were 2-0 winners. The Pirates didn't do much hitting. They had a total of 3 hits. But there was a good look at their starting lineup, as you had O'Neal Cruz leading off, left fielder Brian Reynolds, third baseman Ke'Bryan Hayes, center fielder Jack Sawinski, first baseman Rowdy Tellez, catcher Yasmin Grandal. I guess he's going to be splitting time with Henry Davis. You had your right fielder was Connor Joe, second base was Leo Pagero, and you had Nick Gonzalez trying for a starting spot on the mound. The Orioles' first run was unearned. Pitching again was the story here. Mitch Keller, the aforementioned, pitched the first 2 innings. So the opening day pitcher threw 2 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Not bad. They again had pitchers throw scoreless innings. Dari Moreta with 2 Ks. Ryder Ryan, another scoreless inning with a K. Brent Honeywell, a scoreless inning with 1 K. And he spoke after the game and was saying, I want to be a screwballer bringing a unique set of pitching goals to the Pirates. His dad, Brett Sr., cousin of Mike Marshall. Mike Marshall's an old baseball player. Relied on that pitch for a relief pitcher, and he went on to win the 1974 Cy Young Award. So it runs in the family. It'd be nice to see a screwballer in the major leagues. I'm sure you Dodger fans remember Fernando Valenzuela. He was probably the best. And I think Juan Marichal had a screwball. But those players were pitched back then. Also in the game, Connor Sadix pitched the scoreless inning with 2 Ks. Cam Allen, 1 inning, 2 hits, 3 Ks, had a walk. Isaac Matson, scoreless inning with a walk and a K. And Tyler Fegill had 2 hits, an inning, and a run. These are all guys trying to vie for a spot in the bullpen. But the pitching was off to a good start after the first 2 games. There was some sad news during the day. Former Pittsburgh Pirate Jose DeLone, he passed away at 63 years old. His first major league game, was February 25th. I'm sorry, he passed away February 25th, 2024. He made his major league debut for the Pirates on July 23rd, 1983. He went on to pitch 4 years for Pittsburgh. Our condolences and prayers go out to his family. So next came their third game, and manager Derek Shelton threw out a lineup out there versus the Blue Jays in Dunedin, Florida, where the Blue Jays came out on top 8-4. He basically said this lineup was to try to figure out who was going to get the starting second base job. So he put players that are vying for that job in different positions of the infield. So he had Nick Gonzalez at third, Jared Triol at second. The DH was Henry Davis. Left fielder was Edward Lavalas. Right fielder was Cannon Smith-Njigba. They threw another catcher, Jason DeLay, behind the plate. Shortstop, Alika Williams. Jake Lamb was playing first. Center field was Jae-Hwan Bae. And the starting pitcher was Ronzi Contreras, coming off an injury. He flashed some velocity, but struggled at times. In the loss to the Blue Jays, he topped out at 96.2 miles with this four-seamer and lived in the strike zone with 21 of his 35 pitches for strikes. His totals were 4 hits, 2 runs, and 2 innings. Did throw 6 consecutive balls with 2 outs in the second inning before a run came around. Contreras afterwards says he feels good about himself and is back mentally stronger and physically stronger, of course, than he was. And a big note in this game, Tamar Johnson, a Pirates first-round pick in 2022 Major League Draft, hit 2 homers. He hit a 2-run shot in the 7th and a solo shot in the 9th. He had 3 RBIs, and manager Derek Shelton has been impressed by his play and demeanor. Again, the pitching, Contreras in his first start, 2-inning pitch, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and he didn't strike out anybody. Braxton Ashcraft pitched a scoreless inning. Colin Shelby, 1 inning, 1 hit, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Willie Peralta, scoreless inning, 1 hit, 1 base on ball. Sean Sullivan, 0.2 innings, 3 hits, 4 runs, 1 base on ball, and 1 K. Yikes. That wasn't a good inning. He didn't even pitch an inning. Justin Meese pitched a scoreless inning, and Cade McClaw finished it up with 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, and 1 K. So basically, 2 guys gave up 6 runs in that game. So the Pirates 0-2 in spring training. They came back today, and they were played the Braves back at Lecom Park, and they actually won today. I was just looking at the stats before I came on, and they won the game 8-4. So again, the starting lineup today was a variety of what the opening lineup probably is going to look like. O'Neill Cruz at short. Left field was Brian Reynolds. Third base was Kebron Hayes. Catcher again, Yasmani Grandal. So he's caught 2 of the first 4 games to start. DH Connor Joe. Right fielder Edward Ovales. First base Rowdy Tellez. Center fielder Jack Sawinski. Second base was Leova Paguro. And the left-handed pitcher Marco Gonzalez started the game. He's looked to be a big piece in the starting rotation this year. Again, the Pirates won 13-4. The bats came awake. Kebron Hayes hit a grand slam. Brian Reynolds hit a 2-run shot, had an outfield assist. One of my favorite plays in baseball, an outfield assist. I love it, especially when they throw somebody out at home plate. Again, the pitching, Gonzalez started. He pitched 1.2 innings, gave 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 Ks. But the guys that Shelton chose to pitch today picked him up. Kyle Nicosis pitched a scoreless inning with 2 Ks. Michael Plasmeyer scoreless inning with 2 Ks. Luis Ortiz 2 innings with a run and 2 Ks. Jose Hernandez, who got the win, pitched a scoreless inning. And Hunter Stratton, who was going to make this Pittsburgh Pirate bullpen, had a hold and a scoreless inning with 2 Ks. The Pirates had a 4 spot, 4 runs in the 3rd inning, and a 7 spot in the 6th inning. So, spring training is pretty much in full gear. Pirates have played 4 games already, and it just started Saturday. Time flies. So we'll get into the Pirates more as opening day comes. And like I said at the beginning, these players are all vying for a job. Although Derek Shelton has thrown out there two starting lineups of a version, with one player missing that I haven't seen play yet in spring training, and I haven't heard much comment on it. Andrew McCutchen, who the Pirates signed in the offseason to come back, has not had an at-bat or anything. Maybe they're just bringing him along slow so that he could be ready for a regular season. Because he is coming off an injury on his leg. So that's probably what it is. But we'll look into that. We'll get some information on that and see what happens with that. So Bucko Baseball is underway. We'll see what happens with them. We have a long way to go before spring training is complete. So we'll see what happens as they go. But today was good. The bats got going. 2 of the starters came up big, and again, you can't disclaim what's going to happen with all these guys, because spring training, there's about 58 to 65 guys in camp. And the manager and the coaches have to decipher who's going to make the 25-man roster. All right, so let's get into, let's do the Pitt basketball. Pitt had 2 games in the week span that we last spoke. And their first game they played, I believe, was last Tuesday. And they played Wake Forest at Wake Forest. And I was watching some of this game, and Pitt got blown out. So it was a very bad loss when in the position they're fighting for a tourney bid, and they lost by 33 points to a team in the same position vying for a tournament bid. They were dominated on both ends of the floor and having their worst shooting game of the year. Pitt was ran off the floor with no signs of catching up, missing 8 attempts from the field to start the second half. They were already down by 11. Pitt was down 18 points with just over 15 minutes to go in the game, and the Pitt 5-game win streak was snapped by Wake Forest. And now I have to reflect on this hard loss, putting them at best on the bubble. Saturday night came, and the Panthers had a game at the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, and they had West Virginia coming in, and they had, the game was, I don't know if anybody saw, but if you saw the coming attraction for the game, it had the blackout logo on the Pitt Panthers website or Twitter or wherever you follow them on social media. So what it was they were wearing black uniforms with the letter P in gold with gold trim. So what happened was they called it blackout night at the Peterson Event Center. So everybody was basically dressed in black. This is a college thing, because I don't know if you've ever seen Penn State football. They do it, they call it a whiteout. And it's insane when they come out of the tunnel and it's great. Google it or you watch it on YouTube, you'll see what it is. But this was a little different. The Pitt Panthers were wearing all black. The coaches were wearing black, and all the fans were dressed in black. So if you had anything else with black on, you were sticking out. So the game went on. They played the Virginia Tech Hokies, and the Panthers came out on top 79-64. It was a big win for Pitt. They rode a big second half to the 79-64 win over Virginia Tech. They hosted them, like I said, in a blackout game. Pitt was wearing the black uniforms with the gold P on their chests and the gold trim. All the fans blacked out in dress attire at the Peterson Event Center. Was a black hole for Virginia Tech. I wrote that. I wanted to say that. After halftime, the score was 36-36. Pitt fell behind 42-40 and used a 22-2 second half run over a span of 6 minutes and 44 seconds to take over the game with an 18-0 run in 5 minutes of the 6:44 time span. So that's 18 points in 5 minutes, straight points. Pitt wound up outscoring Virginia Tech 43-28 in the second half to gain the blackout win in Pittsburgh. Zach Orson on the Panthers had a significant impact on the game on both ends of the floor, scoring 9 points with a season-high 14 rebounds and 5 block shots. And very important, he became just the 14th player in NCAA since 1994-94 to record over 1,000 points, 500 rebounds, 150 blocks, and 150 three-point field goals in a career. Now just digest that. I'll say it again. 1,000 points, 500 rebounds, 150 blocks, and 150 three-point field goals in a career. This is college. I mean, that's amazing. The sixth man, vying for the sixth man a year in the award in the ACC, Ishmael Leggett, of course, came off the bench to finish with 13 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and has double-figure scoring in 9 of his last 10 games. Yeah, he's got a good lock on that sixth man a year award in the ACC. Let's hope he gets it. Pitt is now 14-1 in year when they score more bench points than their opponent. Jalen Lowe continued his outstanding all-play. That's the freshman guard that I spoke about in prior shows, scoring in double figures for his 11th time in league play. 18 points, added 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. This guy is like a stat sheet stuffer. This is the 5th of the last 6 games he scored in double figures. So Ishmael Leggett and Jalen Lowe are very hot players at this time. I looked it up today, and as far as it goes for Pitt, they're on the bubble. They're on the bubble for a tourney bid. So they have some ACC games coming up. They have 4 left in the division, and then they have the league tournament. Gathering, they're gonna have to come up with maybe 3, possibly 4 big wins out of these next games between the tournament and the 4 that they have left to really get an automatic bid. But we'll see what happens. Just an interesting note after the blowout. I was watching the game Saturday, and they were talking about Coach Jeff Capel, and it took him 3 days to watch the video. He watched the video of the Wake Forest game because the way he put it, it's just something the coach has to do. It doesn't matter when, as long as it's done before the next game. And this guy, from what they were saying, the announcers did it Friday night at 2 o'clock in the morning. His house was asleep, his family was asleep, and he couldn't sleep. He says, well, now's a better time than ever. And he got himself up, got himself to the room and watched the videotape. And whatever came out of it that he was watching must have really helped, because Pitt was phenomenal Saturday in the second half. I mean, if they could play like that, they're gonna surprise some people. So We'll follow Pitt basketball as we go. I'll take a break. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'll be back shortly. We'll get into the Penguins and some Steeler tidbits that came up, and we'll go from there.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernan.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies.
And your one-timers.
You wicked wristas.
And be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No, not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on The Defining Moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
Welcome back. The Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. That is a great show, The Defining Moment with Larry B. Okay, do some sponsorships here. So, Planet Jerky, premium biscuit beef jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, low in sugar, and high in protein. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on another planet. Find it on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Another sponsor is Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. So you've just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitation and you're looking for that extra special touch. Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. Instagram at SealTheDeal_wax stamps and at Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Okay, so the Penguins hanging on for dear life in the playoff race. Had 3 games this past week from last I was on, Tuesday to today. And there were 3 home games. And it was a very important part of their schedule. And out of the 3 games, they wound up gaining 5 out of 6 points. So these 3 games, we'll go over the 3 games. We're at the PB Paints Arena in Pittsburgh. This was last Tuesday, February 20th. They lost to the New York Islanders 5-4 in overtime. The Penguins' rally fell short, but 2 third-period goals gained a comeback and a much-needed point. Great start. They had an opening goal at 12:48 by Marcus Pettersson with helpers to Carlson and Raquel. After a New York Islander goal by Barzell and a breakaway out of the penalty box, meaning another failed power play for the Penguins, they fell behind 2-1 and soon later 3-1. The Pens closed to 3-2 and were awarded another power play after a failed challenge by New Islander coach Patrick Roy, claiming a hand pass was credited on the goal to happen. The free play failed, and leaving it at 3-2 going to the third. A quick third period start for New York Islanders on a goal by Mike Riley. The Pens were down 4-2, but the Pens showed grit and scored 2 goals with constant pressure to tie the game at 4-4. A red-faced New York Islander coach Patrick Roy called timeout as his team blows another double-digit lead goal game for the second straight time. The one before that was the game Sunday in the Stadium Series where the Rangers just shocked the hell out of them. I think they came back from a 3-goal deficit in that one. The 2 goals came 56 seconds apart. Great fight, great grit to tie it, but in OT 50 seconds in, an Islanders defenseman, Adam Pelech, ripped a shot past Nedeljkovic for the 5-4 loss. The weird thing about overtime, because it was 56 seconds, the game was over, Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin never saw the ice. Eesh. Nedeljkovic, after the loss, said, "I shit the bed." Well, I guess he was talking about the overtime goal because basically the other goals that were scored, he really didn't have a chance. But they gained a point, which was good. That was 1 point. Then came the general manager for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's Kyle Dubas. And he was asked about being a buyer or seller. And his response was, it's all determined on how the Penguins perform and where they stand in the Eastern Conference playoff race as the deadline gets closer. He ruled out a full-scale makeover of the roster as he spoke of impact veterans, of course, of Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, Erik Karlsson, and Jeff Carter, Brian Rust, Jake Gunsel, and Noel Osiri, and Matt Nieto. He did say that the players, they weren't going anywhere with no movement or no trade clause in his contract to waive it, so he can't be sent to another club and will not be approached. All those guys fit into that category. But I think Jake Gunsel, Noel Osiri, and Matt Nieto can specify some teams, but it varies from contract to contract, which they do not have to accept a trade. Dubas went on to say, out of respect to the group here and what they have accomplished, I'm trying to be patient. I will listen to offers, but want to give the group the time to show that they really can make a playoff push. So the Penguins are getting the okay from the general manager there that he's not really looking to trade anybody. He thinks the team can make it as is. So what happens next is the Penguins play the Canadiens at home again, and they wound up winning 4-1 over the Canadiens, and they ride the goaltending in a much-needed 4-1 victory over Montreal. Tristan Jarry stopped 31 of 32 shots, with a couple of those saves being not sensational, pensational. Now, funny thing during this game, as we were just talking about Kyle Dubas not making any trade, he goes and makes a trade in the middle of the game. So the Penguins trade for a young forward from the Columbus Blue Jackets. Gen V, you out there? Maybe you could help me along with this guy. The Pittsburgh Penguins tipped their toes into the trade market, and they added a young forward in the midst of the contest against the Montreal Canadiens, but it didn't stop Dubas from making the move. The Penguins acquired forward Emil Bemstrom from the Columbus Blue Jackets. In return, the Penguins sent AHL forward Alex Nylander and a conditional 2026 sixth-round draft pick. Bemstrom is a 24-year-old forward, native of Sweden, and played 204 games in his NHL career. Over 5 seasons with the Blue Jackets, Bemstrom has scored 31 goals and 38 assists for 69 total points. So, like we said, he didn't want to trade anybody. He goes and makes a trade in the middle of a game. But he did not give up any of the guys mentioned. Like he said, he didn't want to break up the team. So Penguins general manager Kyle Dubas recently said he isn't yet committing to buying or selling at the trade deadline. He did, however, state he hopes to make an effort finding younger players for the Penguins, and Bemstrom, 24, fits that category. So that makes pretty much sense of what he said the day before. He wants to get younger, and he made the trade, and he got this kid from the Blue Jackets. In that game against Montreal, Chris Letang had 2 goals. Drew O'Connor had a goal and assist, and Brian Rust had a goal, and Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin each had an assist. So that was a win. So now that's the second game in a homestand, and they've gotten 3 out of 4 points. Not bad. Then comes Sunday, the Battle of Pennsylvania. And these games, they are must-see TV. So, again, this was the last game at a homestand. It was the Flyers versus the Penguins, again at the PB Paints Arena in Pittsburgh. The Penguins were victorious in this high-stakes battle of PA, trailing the Flyers by 9 points in the standings for a playoff spot with 4 games in hand. The Penguins get a hard-fought victory and a much-needed 2 points. Sidney Crosby, our Hall of Fame captain, recorded 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists, as they earned a 7-6 victory in the Battle of PA. In a wild back-and-forth affair, Brian Rust scored twice along with an assist before leaving the game in the third period with an undisclosed upper body injury, which you'll hear later on turned out not to be too good. Chris Letang was credited with the game winner, while Rickard Rakell, Drew O'Connor, and newly traded for Emil Benstrom, making his Penguins debut, all scored in this 13-goal affair, with 5 goals coming in a back-and-forth third period. I don't know if anybody watched this, but this was insane. One team was scoring, the Penguins would go up by 2, Flyers would come back, cut it, and it was just the whole period. Just like that, it was the whole period. Tristan Dary got the win in net in a critical team and 3 home games this past week. The Penguins earned 5 points of a possible 6 points. So at 55 game plays and 60 points and now 7 points out of a playoff spot and four games in hand, this upcoming road trip will be another defining point in the season for the 2023-2024 season. So the Penguins, after the game, they went to the airport immediately following the game to begin a season-telling 4-game road trip through Vancouver, Seattle, Calgary, and Edmonton. It's not going to be easy, but the words from Crosby hit home. He said, if we just take care of things, get ourselves back in the picture a little bit, that's all we have to do, 1 game at a time, and continue to get points. I think with the guys in this room, we can get ourselves back in it. It's going to be tough because after the game, I think it was mentioned yesterday that now Brian Rust did not make the trip with his undisclosed upper body injury. And of course, the Penguins are still missing Jake Gensel, their second leading scorer. So this is going to be tough, and they're not really close. They're still 7 points out of a playoff spot. They do have 4 games in hands, and other teams are pulling ahead in the wild card spot, like Tampa and Detroit, who are on fire. But their only hope is to catch Philly. Like I said, 7 points behind and 4 games in hand. That's doable. So we'll see what happens with the Penguins. They're going on this road trip. They got a couple of tough injuries, and we'll see how they play. And again, the trade deadline is coming up shortly. I believe it's next week. So we'll see what Kyle Dubas does. He's going to go young. He's going to trade for young players like he did. That'll be good. And you don't want to break up the team. So he's riding the Penguins of how they are. All right. We'll take another quick break. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'll come back with some Steeler tidbits that happened over the past week, and we'll get into that, and we'll be right back.
IE Sports Radio fans, it's your boy, the SoCal Saint, the host of the premier professional wrestling podcast online today, the IE Elite Wrestling Show. If you're a fan and have a passion for the world of professional wrestling, this is the show for you. I take you inside the ropes with all the athleticism, high-flying, and hard-hitting action, and then we take it backstage with all the backstage drama and backstabbing that goes on in the world of professional wrestling today. If something's going on in the world of professional wrestling, rest assured, the SoCal Saint knows what's going on, and he's going to let you know too. If you're a fan, check us out every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on IE Sports Radio. The IE Elite Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling, on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports. Check us out.
Hey, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans, this is Jen B., host of the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in live to the Show of the Land on Tuesdays, where we will cover the Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians, and Monsters. We will also talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, Crew, Fury, and of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll also cover other colleges in the area like Akron, Kent State, Cleveland State, Mount Union, John Carroll, Baldwin Wallace, Youngstown State, among others. So like I said, if you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in Tuesdays to the Show of the Land with Jen B. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back. It's the Yinzer Report, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. That was our man, Taryn. That guy's a legend. Take a listen to him. Alright, so let's get into some Steelers stuff. Not much going on. Still all that talk about the quarterback, Justin Fields, coming to Pittsburgh in a trade. Who are they going to sign? Every day it's something different or something new. But they did make a couple of moves. On Friday, February 23rd, the Steelers cut their starting center, Mason Cole. He was released by the Steelers. Starting center for 2022 and 2023. He played 34 regular season starts, 17 each 7. He also started the 2023 wildcard game against Patty B's Buffalo Bills. This move saves the Steelers $4.7 million cap space. It also creates a major needs entering free agency and the draft. I would look to the draft for the Steelers for a new center unless they go with the surprise on the roster, Nate Herbig, moving him from his line position to center. It would be a surprising move. But 2023 was a struggle for Cole snapping the ball. Towards the end of the season, he had a lot of problems snapping the ball. and he had a serious pass protection problem also at the end at times. Pushing this move heavily by the Steelers, I believe they're going a different route for sure. So in free agency, we will keep an eye on names of centers like Aaron Brewer on the Titans, who has ties with Arthur Smith, the new offensive coordinator, the Broncos' Lloyd Cushenberry, and Las Vegas Raiders' Andre James. But as I mentioned, I believe the draft will produce our next center in Pittsburgh, keeping the ear out for these names like Oregon's Jackson Power Johnson, Georgia's Cedric Van Pran, Duke's Graham Barton, and West Virginia's Zach Fronte. I believe the Steelers at the West Shine Green were speaking with the Oregon Jackson Powers Johnson. Free agency for the Steelers should be used to upgrade the defensive side of the ball, notably the defensive line and safety, and use the draft to improve the offense. As I said, center and for an offensive tackle both have strong classes in these positions in the upcoming draft. They did make a signing. They signed from the Baltimore Ravens, who released linebacker Jeremiah Moon to a one-year deal at a $915,000 contract. They claimed him off waivers shortly after Baltimore released him to make the playoff roster moves. Now, this guy played against the Steelers in the last game of the season. I think he had like 4 tackles and a sack, and I didn't even realize that he was dropped off the roster in the playoffs for Baltimore. I wonder what was going on with that. This signing is very reminiscent and hopefully turns out to be the James Harrison saga. Now, the story behind that is same situation. James Harrison was going from team to team, trying to find a team to stick with. He was on the Steelers, on a couple of different teams, and he wound up with the Ravens. And same thing, they released him. And when they released him and he came back to Pittsburgh, oh, that's the James Harrison that's probably going to get into the Hall of Fame. When, I don't know, but he had a Hall of Fame career with the Steelers. So we'll hope that could happen. We'll see what happens with that. Today there was a note that came out about Omar Khan. He was going to have a press conference at the Combine for the Steelers. We were hoping maybe to get a little insight on the quarterback or something. And it came out that he had a family member pass away. So prayers and condolences to the Steelers GM, Omar Khan. Hope all is well, goes well with that. So he canceled his press conference because of the death in the family. So we're still at Kenny Pickett is the only quarterback on the roster. Nothing out of Pittsburgh about a quarterback. There was something on ESPN today that it's getting hot and heavy where ESPN, feels that Justin Fields is going to wind up in a Steeler uniform. Again, I can't go by ESPN. You got to wait till you hear it from somebody in the Steelers organization. And it's been quiet. So the Combine is here. I'm sure we'll hear something in the next couple of days. Something will come out. Somebody will say something. They'll update us on it. But I don't know. Maybe Kenny Pickett's time in Pittsburgh is short-leashed. Because if they're trading for Justin Fields, he's not going to be the starter. So we'll monitor that. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Today is Pack Tuesday. Bunch of shows for your sports pleasure coming up. Terrence started us out today at 3 o'clock with some awesome volleyball stuff. Check his shows out. He has the SoCal show also, as I just played in the drop. And shows after coming up will be Gen B is next with the Show of the Land. That's Cleveland. 8 p.m. you have Philly Sports Talk with Chris and Bobby. And then at 10 p.m. you had Sin City Sports with Kyle. So that's the show for today. Hope everyone out there is having a good day. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'll be back next week, hopefully with some good stuff again. And till then, I will talk to everybody next Tuesday. Good night. Enjoy your night. And always, love you guys. Take care. Once again, you've been listening to the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Stay tuned for Gen B with the show of the land. And I would just like to say, I just saw in the chat that Patty Bax with the Buffalo Huddle will be celebrating her 100th episode next week. Congrats, Patty B. Can't wait to listen. Enjoy your evening. Take care.